We'll call the meeting to order. At this time, I'd like to have a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel. Yes, please.
Trustee Brewer? Here. Trustee Grant? Here. Trustee Jones? Trustee Tate? Here. Trustee Todd? Here. Trustee Suba?
Entertain a motion to go into executive session for personnel matters. Second by Trustee Brewer. Madam Clerk, please call.
Trustee Brewer? Yes. Trustee Grant? Yes. Trustee Jones? Trustee Tate? Trustee Todd? Yes. Trustee Suba?
Motion is carried. We'll be back in a few minutes. Call the meeting to order.
Trustee Brewer? Here. Trustee Grant? Here. Trustee Jones? Trustee Tate? Trustee Todd? Here. Trustee Suba?
Okay, item number 4, discussions. We have the owners group here to give us the new proposal for our insurance. Mr. Mitchell and Valerie, Bruce Mitchell, we need another seat up there. You don't need to sit there?
Sit at the table.
Yes, they do. Oh, you gave me a copy? Okay. Oh. I got one. Oh. How you doing, sir?
Good evening.
Just want to warn you that you've been here before, that the mic is going to be pretty difficult. If you don't speak up, you will be.
I've been practicing.
Okay.
So, for the 2018 and 19 policy year, including for the proposal for the marketing effort that Owners Group has done for the village, we approached every market that does municipality business in the state of Illinois, and we were able to secure 2 quotes, one from the incumbent, which is Chubb, and the second carrier is Old Public. First thing I want to talk about is the challenges of marketing the program. I've come before you before to talk about past claims, whether it be law enforcement liability or public practice liability. You have 5 claims between 2014 and 2015 that are still the village's insurance program. We have one that recently closed that had a total incurred $414,867. That is a law enforcement liability claim. As we all know, right now, law enforcement liability is a hot button issue in the marketplace. Most municipalities are struggling to provide that type of coverage at a reasonable rate because they're paying a lot of claims on law enforcement liability. So, the fortunate thing is that the village is moving in that direction. With regard to these types of claims, we have had new claims, but these 5 claims are still hurting the program. Once we get past it, I look at it like a 5-year window, 5 to 7 year window for claims to fall off. And that's when you start to see the premiums come down, the retention possibly coming down. But as it stands right now, these claims are holding those back. We put together a display that shows the liability claims by year and the number of claims between 2006 to 2016. And the development shows that the village is moving in the right direction. You're not having any new claims. You're not having any high impact claims. But again, those 5 in the past, sins of the past, are still impacting the present. So, once we get past all the claims data, we get to the market effort and highlights all of the carriers that we approach on the village's behalf. Those carriers include Chubb, again, Old Republic, AIG, Unit Re, Markel, Allied World, Trident, Houston Casualty, AIX, and Liberty Mutual. And most carriers provide terms for some decline, and those declinations were because of claims. And in my communications with underwriters, they stated that the village is moving in the right direction. It's just that those claims that have happened in the past, kind of keeping them at bay or to off the terms. I do think that maybe next year or after, as these claims develop, we should see premiums come down. The total renewal program cost for 2018-19 is $331,719, which is an 8% decrease from last year, which was $362,307. And beyond that, I've listed the premiums and the returns that were provided by some of the other carriers. And if you have any questions in regards to that, we can provide the quotes for your review. Some of the things as far as the marketplace that we're also seeing, not only in the law enforcement liability and employment practices, auto liability. A lot of carriers are paying a lot for auto injury claims. Fortunately, we really doesn't have an issue with regard to that, but we'd like to keep you abreast of what's going on in the marketplace. Next page shows the proposed program that we're offering today, effective March 27th, with all of the terms and conditions provided by Ace Chubb. The only change that Chubb offered 2 options, which was keep retentions as expiring, or they offered to increase the retention at a reduced premium. Obviously, it's our recommendation that the village go to a higher retention because as your program was per expiring, most municipalities are carrying a higher retention. The underwriters look at that as the municipality kind of take a little more responsibility for their claims. Obviously, with the TPA, as a third-party administrator to handle the claims, making certain that claims don't earn. They don't get reserved up, which is adverse to the village. That's the one thing that I would recommend to keep an eye on where the claims are reserved at. And I know that the Owens Group is going to be working directly with the village's HR department with quarterly claim reviews to make certain that claims don't get out of hand and that can keep the village dollars directed towards services that are more appropriate for the village as opposed to claims activity. The next page is the expiring program that shows exactly where the village was for the 2017-18 term. And they're the same terms offered by the carriers going forward. And finally, we have the cost comparison from last year to this year with the differential, and it shows the percentage of change in cost showing an 8% decrease over last year in all the services that are being offered for 18 months. And that is the conclusion of my presentation. If you have any questions, I'm happy.
The one question I do have, with the amount that was quoted, is that with the $50,000 retention, or is that with the $100,000?
Within the premium summary, that's with the $100,000.
And right now, we're at the 50,000.
Correct. The percentage change would be approximately like 5%, 3 to 5% if you went with the expiring retentions as opposed to the recommended.
Page 5, at the bottom you have HR, Human Resources Services and Guide Group, Enhanced Risk Management, work conducted by the Owens Group. Can you tell me who's going to be doing the HR services for Sauk Village?
Well, that will be provided by Dr. Alicia Strada.
So, the Owens Group will be paying Dr. Strong?
The current structure is that Dr. Strada is paid through the Owens Group by the village for her services as a consulting service.
So we pay you guys and you guys pay her?
Yes. Well, she is an employee of ours, so we pay her through the services charged for her fees, not the fees for her services here at the village. So it's as if, any other service that would be provided at the village is paying us for those services. She's an employee of ours.
That's all right.
Okay. First of all, and I appreciate, we have saved from last year to this year $50,500. Is that correct?
Correct.
And with that, we still are able to still get the services that we had last year, correct?
With that, you still get the HR services that the Alderman or trustee referred to are not what was in that 50,000. That is something that is worked out with the village at a rate that the village had agreed to. So with the 50,000, that was primarily some risk management work. And as you see from the demonstrations, that was work to get your claims and your losses down. What we were able to do this year is you all got a grant from the Illinois Public Risk Fund, which does your workers' compensation insurance. The grant is approximately $25,000, I believe. And what you're going to do this year is use those monies in-house to do training and work with us. So I'm available as a person who, if you have questions about how to do something, how to put something into place, how to make sure that things are moving in the direction you want it to go so that you maintain these numbers and that they don't spike up, I'm available for that at no cost. What you're doing is by eliminating that, you're trying to use those monies in-house and use your internal resources better so that you can save some money, basically. We're always available to you to do things that are needed, but in light of your budgetary issues, you have money available from the Illinois Public Risk Fund to use internally and just make sure that it's being used on safety and training and equipment geared to mitigating losses.
So basically, what was his name, TJ? He'll still be.
No,
Okay.
TJ will not be available
Okay.
because that is trustee referred to. We have to pay people when they come on site to do certain things. So he is an external person, completely separate than Dr. Strada is. And that is PMA is a company that is nationwide. So They have risk management services to agencies all across the country, and they farm out their risk management people. Why you use a service like that is because they have a plethora of resources available. Web-based portals and organizational management training sessions that you can plug into and you don't have to go to wherever they are. They have resources for manpower or different OSHA-related trainings, things like that that you may not be able to do in-house. So that's what the advantage of having a company like that. But at the same time, if you manage this program with the IPRF funds, now those are work comp funds, and work comp and liability, they do mesh. So if you control your workers' compensation losses, you also are improving the culture of a safety culture where they are translating those techniques, those methodologies over to the liability side, and you are less likely to get into issues where they go around the policies and procedures that you put forth, that they avoid or avert to do the things that you dictate as best practices for the village. So that is the intention, is to use those funds that you're being given through a grant from your insurance company.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, as you see, that it will be on the agenda next week, to be voted on. And thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Next item, presentation by Joseph Wiswadi, Director of Economic Development.
Okay, the dedication of 223rd Street. The village received or is in the process of receiving a grant to fix 223rd Street. That's been ongoing for some time. The village most recently received a grant for the investment cook for the village's share of that. And there's also a few funds that are pledged for this project. What happened was during the due diligence that the village engineer was doing, trying to locate right-of-ways and things like that. What happened was it was discovered that St. James Church actually owned, if you will, part of 223rd Street. Back in 1962, when the village annexed the property, you're familiar with why they call them a blueprint. This is why they call them a blueprint. But back in 1962, there was a small little tract of land right here that states that it is area dedicated for future road extension. That would have been 223rd Street, the other half, which is closer to St. James. So that was never formally dedicated to the village. So during the due diligence that was discovered, Jim Zarnick asked if we had any information on this, so we went and dug and found this information. Worked with St. James and the Archdiocese to secure the plat of dedication, and they were very gracious and getting us that information in a timely fashion so that way it doesn't delay the 223rd Street project. The ordinance that you have tonight is for the dedication of that portion and accepting the plat of dedication. So that kind of cleans up the 56-year delay, if you will. So that'll get cleaned up with that ordinance to authorize that.
Any questions? Okay. Next item.
Okay, the next item is a resolution authorizing the village to enter into intergovernmental.
I was going to say all of them. Okay. Yeah, we're going to put that on one after about it. The one
Okay, it should be a resolution, not an ordinance, just for clarification. So that, yeah, we probably should change that for the approval for the next
You
meeting.
have one here, resolution.
Correct.
Okay, it's just
Yeah, it's
says
just,
on
it's just a matter of changing the,
on the agenda says ordinance, but on the resolution.
it is a resolution, yes. That's why I just to clarify that. Correct. So, it's a resolution authorizing the village to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning. What this basically does is allows the village to enter into this agreement for CMAP to basically hire a consultant, go through the process that they've been going through. I included, or I gave you a copy, I passed out a copy of the intergovernmental agreement to the board. I did just get this yesterday, so I do apologize for the lateness. But if you do have any questions about it, I'd be happy to answer them either tonight or tomorrow or next week. If I can draw your attention to the intergovernmental agreement on the very last page, under contributions, the village's portion, if you recall, was going to be the match, which was at $58,6310, so $5,863.10. That's the village's portion, and CMAP is covering the entire amount above and beyond that. Anything else that's owed above and beyond that, as far as the consultant, they are going to pay directly. Yeah, that's just the village's portion that's they're responsible for.
They can't look at everybody here. I didn't even hear what you
Do you have any idea of the total bill?
The total amount for the village is $5,863.10. The total amount that CMAP will cover the entire amount above and beyond that.
Do we know how much that is?
Give me just a moment, I'll do the math real quick. $117,262. $117,262. And after the last meeting, I passed out a copy of the presentation that was done by Tesca, who will be the consultant that will be taking the lead on the comprehensive plan. Stephen Ostrander will be the lead for CMAP, and I'll be the lead for the village.
No, I don't recall, I don't look through my notes, I don't ever recall saying that the village, excuse me, the village had to come up with $5,863. I don't recall that, and I don't believe we had that in writing anywhere. I'd like to know when they come up, whoever came up with this figure, and can we have something in writing saying that we're supposed to be responsible for $5,863.10? I don't remember everything, but I don't recall anything that you have ever given us that said that the village is not be responsible for this $5,000. I thought the CMAP was free. I mean, do we have something in writing for this 5,000?
It's before you tonight at the part 4, the contributions. It states $5,863.10 on part 4. Which is on, yeah, page 8.
Well, I know it's on page 8, but this is the first time I've ever heard of it.
Okay,
And
when,
you put this out 2 or 3 times, so.
When did you put this out?
I mean, he talked about the CMAP, he's been talking about the CMAP for a while, but I don't recall, and, I might be wrong. I'm asking, but at any point did he tell us that the village is supposed to be responsible for this $5,000? told us.
We're talking,
You know,
we're not talking to the audience trustee, right here.
it might be, so.
Okay, but we're still right here. So you're saying this is the first time you saw that there was a due diligence of the village?
I said, I don't recall, and.
That's what I'm saying, it's the first time you saw that we had to pay anything, that's what you're saying?
I don't recall, and I just like something in writing, and I'll go back and check my notes, I just want to see something in writing. That's
But
all.
what I'm asking you, trustee, is in writing now, this is what it is. So I don't know,
Were we notified before this?
you said you didn't recall, okay, so, but you're knowing, you're finding this out now, we haven't done anything yet. And this is what we have to pay, and the total scope is $114,000? $117,000. For $117,000, our due diligence is $5,863 to complete this particular project, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so what I'm saying now is to go back, and it's what it is right now. To go back and do what? I don't understand. This is what it is, and we're bringing, I'm sorry, he's bringing it to you now that this is what they're charging for that.
If I could, Mr. Mayor, interject, when we had the discussions about the grant application, it was made clear to the board at that time that there was a 5% contribution required by the village. Normally, that contribution is 10 to 15%. However, CMAP was more than understanding about the village's financial situation and agreed to give us the 5%, which is a lower amount. I did report on that at the time, if you remember.
See, I said, I don't remember. I didn't say what everybody else remembered. And I don't remember you saying that the village had to come up with $5,000. And, you know, I just like to know when you said the 5%, and it's somewhere you said, where is it? What did you say? Well,
I had made that presentation before we pursued the grant to the board.
okay, so can I have a copy of that presentation to you?
I'm sure you can refer to the village clerk for the minutes, I'm sure she has them on there. Right, so you would have had a copy of the written report in your packet.
Is there a time constraint on this?
Once the village board adopts this, the amount will be invoiced from CMAP. The village board would have 30 days to make payment on that.
Not talking about the time frame of this application.
Oh, that application, intergovernmental agreement should be adopted as soon as possible. That's what I'm recommending.
Any other questions? And I was asked, and I'm failed to ask this earlier, I was asked last week by a couple of the trustees to, the different things we put on the agenda, we voted on second and fourth Tuesday. Can some of that be on what they call a consent agenda? Does everyone here understand what a consent agenda is? So from now on, I'll start asking that, because I didn't ask it before. So I'll start asking that we can compile a consent agenda, and I'll go back all the way to the insurance renewal up into the two items that were presented just now. Does anyone have a problem with this being put on the consent agenda for next week? Madam Clerk, we'll add the insurance, then the dedication portion, and the resolution as far as the intergovernmental to a consent agenda for next week. Any other questions on that particular item? Thank you, sir. Next one item is, Madam Clerk, discussion,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Enclosed in your packet are minutes from last week. And I just put them in because they're just like any other minutes that never gets approved. And each week that I do minutes, I ask if there's an issue with them, if you would please let me know in advance. One trustee came to me this past week, and another trustee came a couple weeks ago. However, we're still experiencing difficulties with the minutes that I'm producing, and know that I truly desire to do the will of this board and the business of the village. And one of my main responsibilities is minutes. So therefore, even though I have asked time after time after time, I am making a special appeal for us to take just a couple of minutes and dedicate ourselves to your sharing with me. What would you like to see? It's labor intensive to go through minutes, only for you not to approve them, and sometimes, like last week, it doesn't even get a second. It's very discouraging, and I like to proactively seek solutions when there is an issue. I think it's the very last document, trustee. Okay, so, will you please work with me for the next couple of minutes, and let's talk about the minutes. I am prepared not to be defensive. I am prepared to move into this process with a very open mind, with the hopes that we can come to an agreement. Will you assist me do the job that I am supposed to be doing?
Are there any questions? Nobody has any questions?
Well, it really wasn't a matter of a question. I was really hoping that it was more telling, that they would share with me what's wrong with the minutes. What do you want to see?
So, for example, I noticed that when I'm looking on the minutes, and I'm just a stickler for like grammar and punctuation. I see these are minutes that are like on record forever, what it should be. So these should be like documents that should pretty much be almost foolproof, almost, they should be flawless. I know anytime you have minutes that you always go and you always see another error that you made, and that's normal. But sometimes, like certain words, sometimes the flow is just not there. For example, you might say L. Todd here, and then 2 sentences later you might say Linda Todd. Or, for example, I know on a big deal on mine is on the board minutes, when you list the directors, like Alan Valerie is never there. And he's part of staff. Or, for example, some of I know this is, again, being a stickler, you might have a Times New Roman font on top, but down here you might have another different font with a different size text. Like it's like kind of all over the place. And I know that to your point that you should pass these in minutes and we can correct them later. But I feel as if they're going to be presented initially, they should be presented initially correctly. Then we can pass them, so that we don't have to pass them again. And we can give you our corrections. And so I do try sometimes to be here on Fridays to go over minutes. And it's just sometimes we catch up, sometimes we do not. But if I don't get to my minutes until Sunday or Monday, then it's too late. So it's kind of like you can't change anything, and then it's like I don't want to just say yes just to say yes, because they should be corrected.
Thank you. Anyone else?
With the public comment, I know on some of the minutes, you'll put the public's name. And on these, there's not their name. I think we need to have the public's, our residents' names and the questions that they ask. But usually what I do is, if I see something wrong, I do come to you, Mara, and say, this isn't right, this is how this should be, or whatever. But that's what I would like to see, is the names of the residents.
Thank you for that. May I ask the other trustees, is the name of the residents most important or the issue that they brought forward?
Yeah, I think both equally is important. The issue is important, but you don't have to, say the whole name. Maybe it could be J. Patterson or whatever the case may be, but there should be some kind of indication that that resident made that comment. And so if we ever want to decide to go back and say, and think about the topic that was discussed, we know where to start. We know who to start with, if that makes sense.
Okay, did you write that down? Anything else? So, are you saying to me that if I go back to putting residents' name and their question, and if I make certain that if I start with Times New Roman, that I will end with Times New Roman? If I watch the punctuation, that's what I've gotten so far. Is there anything else that you would like to see? Because I've had minutes that were not approved that had people's names on them. And definitely much more than what I have been giving lately. But, I still will maintain that minutes overall is supposed to address the action items of the meeting. Not verbatim, not who said what, but I will attempt to give you some of that, but more importantly, it's your action items that require recording for posterity. Anything else? Okay.
Is it possible to give you a statement at the end of the, excuse me, end of the meeting to make sure you capture what? Yeah.
Sure, I would appreciate that. Amber, you can email it to me. However you want to do it, I would appreciate that. I'll tell you what has been really, really helpful, and that is the number of staff members who give their reports. And I noticed that as they're giving their verbal reports, each of you are reading what they have, and I think that we can internalize the message better when you see it in more than one manner, when you're going through more than one modality. So therefore you're reading it, but hearing it also. So you really can appreciate their report and what they're doing in their offices and out there in the street. I'm not asking you for that, but as I said, if you want to give me something written that you really want recorded, I'm more than willing to include it. Okay? So we'll try that with one set of minutes. I'll bring these same minutes back to you on Tuesday with the hopes that they can be approved, and then from there I can then play catch up once I see and know what it is that you want and you desire. Because minutes are labor intensive. Even though I sit here and I type, it still usually takes me 4 to 5 hours per set of minutes, believe it or not. So that makes it very difficult when we move into this next piece that I have. And know that I promise you at the next meeting, I'm not going to go through FOIAs because I'm going through FOIAs with you today. Mr. Mayor, would you pass that around for me? And the reason why I feel the need to go through FOIAs with you today, at a committee meeting opposed to just reporting out as I normally do. And it's because I'm making a special appeal to you trustees, because you play a role in what goes on in this village and how we operate. I think that our public are counting on you to make certain that everything moves smoothly. And unless you know what's going on, I think that you would be hard pressed to really do the job that you've been elected to do as well. So, these are not all responses, but these are all requests that I have received. Look at these people. Since our last meeting, since last Tuesday. What you're looking at from 3/13 on is what we've received. And I don't want to go through each one of them like that first one. They're asking for arrest information. We're not certain if we can share that. The second one. This is one that truly concerns me. There are a couple in here that truly concerns me. And that second one, the 180314A, let me share with you why it concerns me. Because a trustee brought this one. And she requested the documents last Monday so that she could have them for Tuesday. Because she didn't get them, because Mohan did not give her all 10 items that she asked for on Monday. And one of the items included a history from 2017 for 4 different companies. So this is the response to that for you. Because he could not stop whatever he was working on to give her this right when she asked for it, she FOIA'd it, which put us within the 5-day time period, where then he had to stop whatever he was working on. I stopped working on a grant that I was working on to produce this. But let's move on, and I am going to go a little faster than what I have been doing, because I don't want to belabor this, but it is critical. This is getting critical. The next one, it's a duplicate. It's one that I had responded to from a resident. But because I didn't respond the way that she would want me to, then she reported it to the Attorney General. Another thing that happens where these are concerned that go to the Attorney General, from time to time, management does not want to share all the information that either a trustee would ask for or a resident. So then I can only respond with the information, the limited information that I have. But then by the time it gets to the Attorney General office, we still have to give up that information, but it has taken so much more time and effort, because then I'm responding to the requester, but then I have to also respond back to the Attorney General's office. That's this one. Let me keep going. Now notice when it says 18-3-14, A, B, C, D, whatever, that means all of them came in on the same day. Okay, 18 is the year, 03 is the month, 14 is the day, and the ABCs are the order in which they came in, just so that you know. So, still on the 14th, I received another one from a resident, and he wanted information on he wanted information on a committee. He wanted to know the mission and the members on the committee. That's what this one is. Hold on to that thought, okay? Then the same resident asked for information that was presented at last Tuesday's meeting relative to grants that were talked about concerning the logistics center in Winpac in relation to the Invest in Cook County grant. So see, all of this is like nitpicky stuff going back and forth. You did this to me, so now I'm going to do this to you. That's what this is, okay? So someone requested that. The person that is responsible for providing that information stated she's not giving anything to anybody. Now, we are a public body. You by yourself as your house trustee, you are Cecil Tates. But when you're sitting here, we are a unit. And if the public asks the unit, the body, for something, we're liable for it. So I was told to tell the person to FOIA it. Well, he did FOIA it. And the person that has the information is the one that is responsible for responding to it. I don't just pull information out of the air. Whoever has the information is who I go to get the information, and I respond back. That's how FOIAs work. Okay. So that was those. Dealing with the Public Service Committee, dealing with all of that. Then I got another PAC. Somebody didn't like what I did. Now, I sent each one of you a FOIA last week because you were each FOIA'd. And even though it didn't have your name on it, but because a resident asked a trustee for information concerning her committee, then the trustee decided, okay, I'm gonna go one better. And so whereas the resident only asked for 2 items relative to the committee, our person asked each one of you for your committee, the purpose of your committee, your members of your committee, how many times have you gotten paid, how many meetings have you attended, where is it in writing? Well, I'm going to tell you where the writing is concerned for the mission and the purpose of your committee. Do you know, anybody have any idea where that information is located? You got, oh, you're going to say something?
It should be in the, this order that we passed when the mayor was first initially.
You're absolutely right. It was an ordinance. So if it was an ordinance, each standing committee was laid out perfectly as you all agreed to it. So therefore, since it's an ordinance that you passed, that you have a copy of, at least one that's not necessarily ratified, but you have the language. You have that information. So why ask someone to go and pull that information and bring it together as a report if you have the information already? It makes no sense. If the public does not have it, then I can see them asking for it. But there is no reason for those of you who are sitting around this table to ask me for something or to ask you for something that we already have. And what difference does it make how many meetings you've had with your committee? What and how does that support the greater good of the village? What's the purpose of these FOIAs, people? It's not helping you to know that Linda has had a meeting every month, especially when you know she reports on it at every meeting. She reports every time she has a meeting, what they talk about and everything. So if she tells us that she had a meeting, know that she's had the meeting and that she filled out the little committee form, I submitted it, and she got paid for attending. Makes no sense. Tit for tat. Tit for tat. We are grown. I expect better. I expect more. I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, I'm moving forward. Another one, that 18315B, I responded to this one for you 3 different times. 3 different times. And each time I gave them a little bit more information because I was given a little bit more information. But it still went to the Attorney General's waste of time and effort. I talked to the one about you guys. But that's more than 8 to 9 FOIAs in a 2-day period of time. So my appeal to you is, what can we do to stop some of this? I can't keep up. Honestly, I'm telling you all the truth. I can't keep up with 9 FOIAs. Other villages, other entities, they may get 1 FOIA every 3 or 4 months. 9 in 1 week. I'm only human. Just want you to know what I'm dealing with. And I'm not expecting an answer today. But, you know, I believe in peer monitoring, and I think that you all need to have a very serious conversation amongst yourself and see what you all can do to end some of this. Thank you very much.
Okay, item number 5, public comment. All questions and comments shall be directed to the mayor. Each speaker may comment on any matter pertaining to the business of Sauk Village. Can someone please put a mic up there? Each speaker is allowed 1 opportunity to speak for up to 3 minutes and may not engage in debate. Come up and please give your name.
My name is Linda Washington, and I just want to say that listening to the report that the clerk just gave, I understand about the 4 years. When I was a trustee, I had a standing committee, Neighborhood Watch. My committee was 4 years for all of the receipts that we collected. They wanted a copy of every check that anybody gave a public or a private donation to help buy 500 book bags for school supplies. None of the money was paid for by the village. It was all donations that we collected. They even took receipts of any and everything else that we purchased while we was out buying book bags. They called people on the phone that donated and asked them, why did they donate to my committee? They took up Mohan's time and everybody else's time foiling things that I was doing to raise money to buy book bags for the children in this village, and it had nothing to do with the village money at all. This has everything to do with the village money. I don't understand why trustees are having committee meetings if there's nobody at the meetings. If you're in a meeting by yourself, or you or just one other person, I would not feel right taking a $125 payment for a committee meeting and only have 2 people. As a trustee, it's your responsibility to get in the community and talk with the residents and invite them to come to your committee, ask them to be a part of your committee, tell them what your committee is doing. We had Neighborhood Watch, Ed Myers, Gary Holcomb, and myself. We stayed in these blocks, in this community, ask people to join Neighborhood Watch, come to the housing meeting, come to the commissioners meeting, get people engaged and talking to people. I talk to residents every day. They don't even know who you are. They don't even know your name. I say, name me 3 trustees. The people that was up on the pitch on the highway, they don't even know you. You don't even engage in the community other than going to Rick over to programs to be seen, to have your name called out. It's a travesty. So I feel for you, clerk, because it was so many frivolous 4 years when Debbie Williams was the mayor, and she had to answer all of that. She had to do it all. It made no sense of the things that people wanted to know that had nothing to do with village money. This has a lot to do with village money. I am very concerned about people getting paid for committee meetings and there's nobody at your committee. If you're getting paid for a committee meeting and you didn't have a meeting, they should not be getting paid. Anybody that don't come to a meeting other than the mayor and the clerk should not be getting paid. And that's supposed to be given to the clerk, to give it to Mike. That's the way it used to be. Also, I want to say that I'm doing some research, and I think that, Marvin, you are the only person in history that has ever been an elected official with two entities at the same time simultaneously. I'm doing some research on that, and if it is, then you should be commended for that. You're on the board for the school, and you're on the board for the village at the same time, serving at the same time. I don't know yet, but I'm talking to some people in the village that do know the history of the village, and if it is, March was Black History Month for African American women. We'll have to go back and congratulate you on that. And I just want to say also that, you know, it's a lot going on in the village as far as Dr. Estrada was talking about earlier. If the Owens Group is paying her and we're paying her also, I'm going to FOIA that.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
My name is Renee Richardson, and the reason why I'm here today to speak to everyone, me and my son went downtown, okay, and I just brought this to Joe's attention. Went downtown for the tax, during the tax time, to get things situated with his address, which is 1690 223rd Place. They don't have an address. 1690 223rd Place. They have an address of 1701. I just asked Joe to check. He says he see, but on the map, you don't see my son's house at all. Downtown. You don't see nothing that reverts to him in the address. What we did was went down to deal with the tax situation, which he was getting a tax bill through his mortgage company of $7,000. When we finished, he had a tax bill of $4,500. It took us 2 days to get this straightened out. So that's one of the problems that they asked me to bring to the mayor's understanding, so that they can see that they're going to put in a 1690 because that's the address that he was given, but that's not the address that's there. So maybe you all can look into that and maybe see what you all come up with. But he's been paying the taxes since he's been there almost 6 years. But they have to give a lot of money back to him. A lot of money.
Thank you so much. We will look into that. Anyone else?
My name is Frank Harper, 2946 225th Place. My question is, in the negotiations with the union, and you have a finance committee, and you have the finance, Mr. What's his name? The guy that's over the finance. Do they sit in on the meetings when you talk negotiating with the union? Do they sit in on the meeting?
Is that the only question you have? Yes or no?
That's the main question. Yeah, that's
I'm
it.
not going to.
Well, I'm just saying.
Go ahead.
If they don't sit in on the meeting, why not? Because it's about the village buildings. So why pay somebody, say, $80,000 or $40,000 to do something that you have people that's on the board can do? If they don't have common sense enough to know what you want, being back in the position.
Okay, as far as the finance chairman sitting on the meetings, no, we don't sit in on the meetings, for negotiations. We refer to any department head that has something to do with that, be it finance, be it whatever. That's what we have a wealth of information that we go to and draw from. But to have them sit at the meetings and go back and forth like that, no, he can be doing what he's doing for the village daily. And there's some questions because it's negotiations, so they're going back and forth. They're presenting, we're countering back and forth. That's how negotiations work. And it takes a while because they may not accept, but to have the finance chairman to be there and take away from his day-to-day operations or work, no, you have somebody that actually negotiate on behalf of the village. I chose not to use the lawyers extensively because back they used to charge us $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 each month. So, and this is going to be a long and tedious negotiation. So I knew that. So therefore, no, I didn't. And I'm having a one person to do it because, like I stated, it's going to be long and tedious. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Bernadine Hopkins. I'm sort of uncomfortable asking this question, but I want to know. Judas, I think the name is Judas something. Is that our treasurer? If so, is it true, because this is information circulating now, that she was in a lawsuit for misappropriation of funds regarding, I think it's Amcor Bank. And I understand they went into bankruptcy. So I just want to know if our treasurer is that person, and I just need to know that. The other thing is this. I wanted to know, I understand that the senior committee, which I am a part of, that we are going to be basically held responsible for the Wi-Fi bill. I want to know, is this some new procedure? Is that misinformation? Can you help me out here? Okay. And another thing I do need to know, sir, what exactly is being done for the residents? I see things being done for the businesses, okay? But I want to know the residents. Are we in the plans? And that's pretty much.
As far as the allocation that you're talking about, I just found out about something today. I'm going to look into it. And that must, I don't, you can't hear me?
No, I can't. I don't know what you mean when you said allocate.
Allocations.
About,
Allocations as far as you were talking about the treasurer.
oh,
Allegations.
I got you. I'm
Okay.
sorry. I'm sorry.
The allegation that you presented just now. I don't know how true they are. I just found out about it. I'm not going to talk about it out here until I find out exactly what's going on. So that part there, I have to, and then quite naturally, once I find out, I'll disseminate that information. As far as, I don't know who told you, maybe the same person that told you about, I don't know, but there is no, I don't know where it comes from, the senior center, I'm sorry, the senior committee is paying for Wi-Fi.
No, I'm being asked to, not
Okay, I don't know who asked them to do that, I have no idea, but no. Nobody said, I've never said anything about asking the senior advisory committee to pay for anything. I mean, it's provided over there, and basically that's what it is. And then your last question was?
Well, I wanted to know.
Oh, I'm
what
sorry.
you're doing.
You want to know what I'm doing for the residents?
Sir, you're the mayor.
Okay, so you want to know what I'm doing for the residents?
What are you having people do?
What am I having? Well, the list is too long to sit up and do that, but I will tell you this. I'm not going to go back and forth. Okay, because that's not appropriate. But what my job is chief executive also the village is to make sure that the village is run properly, to make sure that we take care of our responsibilities that we have, our contractual responsibility as a village. And that means to make sure that we try to pay our bills, that we pay our obligations. It's not always met, but that's what what my contractual obligation. As far as what I'm doing, as far as the village, is to try to improve the surrounding of the village, simple as that. This didn't happen overnight. I've been here 38 years. I've been mayor 8-9 months. So I'm trying to do it. As we said today, we just saved $50,500 on one of the entities that we just did, our liability insurance. We're trying to save as much money as we can. We're trying to make sure that every dollar we spend is accountable for. But to go into back and forth to justify, not justify, but keep saying, okay, what did I do? I'm here trying to make a difference. I'm asking you and anyone else, they give me a hand, help me along. Be a volunteer. Come out. I'm not going.
You're taking it personal, sir.
No,
I mean,
you can't take it personal.
as far as the residents.
Ma'am, I'm
Sir,
not.
I meant as far as the residents.
I'm not going.
Not if you outside.
I'm not going back.
That's not what I meant, sir.
Thank you very much.
That's not what I meant, though.
Thank you. Thank you
You
very
took
much.
it personal is what I'm trying to
Thank
say.
you very
I mean, as
much.
far as, are you cutting our curbs, are you paving our streets, are you fixing our lights, or things like that. I didn't mean you going around mowing lawns.
Thank you. Thank you.
That doesn't
very
make sense.
much. Okay.
You didn't answer it, though. You answered your question. but
I'm
you
not.
didn't
You're the
answer
baby
mine.
now.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm
If
not,
I
sir.
say something, you
What
go
it
back.
is you got that. You're
Thank you.
supposed to be representing me. Okay, you're supposed to be, well, I mean, when you were running, it wasn't this arrogant attitude.
I'm not.
But
arrogant,
now,
ma'am, but I'm not.
now all of a
going
sudden, you
Okay.
can't be questioned. We
No.
voted for these people here. We
Ma'am,
voted for these people
ma'am,
here, and now we
You're
can't even
taking
address
time
them.
away
I
from
think
so
that's
much.
out of order. And I
Okay.
just wanted to
You're
say.
taking. Thank you for your comment. Thank you for your comment. Anyone next? Questions and comments from the board of trustees. I'll start with trustee Tate. Trustee Grant.
The only comment I have is Budget and Finance Committee meeting tomorrow at 7 p.m. here in the Rotunda.
Trustee Brewer.
Mr. Mayor, my comment is that I empathize with the word request sent out to the village clerk. However, since I've been on this board, I haven't been able to get some information, and therefore, if you for you, that's the only way you get information these days. Case in point, the $250,000 that came out of the tip and was repaid by the water fund. No trustee knew anything about that. How would we know that unless we for you? There's no accountability. And again, according to the Sauk Village Code 3101, trustees are supposed to have access to the village document. For some reason, we can't get access to every village document that's in here. So therefore, we have to resort to the Freedom of Information Act, which is a constitutional right of any citizen, any trustee of the United States. I understand there's a lot of things that we just ask, but we can't. And when we're limited to just talking to the finance director for 10 minutes, when we don't quite understand something's wrong with that picture, or you told us to go to another trustee who's only been here as long as I have. So, you know, as far as the Public Service Committee, there hasn't been any meeting of public service. There's no minutes available, and because the mayor has, and I've asked this many a time, how many users do we have? How can you expect anybody to recommend a water rate increase when you don't know how many water users there are in the village? So therefore, if the information is not readily available to trustees, we have no other recourse to do it. I understand that it's a lot. You know, believe me, it takes a lot for us to write it. But if you're not getting the information, we gotta get it from somewhere. And according to the Freedom of Information Act,
Excuse me. Could you all either go outside and talk, or would you disrupt the meeting? Thank you. Go ahead.
And another thing is, a perfect example of what happened this evening. We asked, and I've been asking all the time, is Dr. Strada a Sauk Village employee? Now, according to the Orange Group, they pay Dr. Strada. Then why does she show up on our accounts payable every week? Something's wrong with that picture.
Yes, it is.
We,
You can put me up. I'm gonna say whatever I want to say. Just like he said whatever he wanted to say. You
Excuse
tell
me,
him to shut up.
excuse me. Ma'am, I'm not gonna put you out, but I'm gonna ask you to please control your comments. I'm not gonna put you out for what, no.
And I appreciate you saying that, and I will be
I'm
quiet.
asking you to give me the same respect I'm giving you.
And I
Please don't
just said
speak.
that I would. Thank you.
Now, the question needs to be asked, if trustee doesn't understand or know an answer to a question, therefore you need to get supporting documents. That's why the FOIA request will be right. In my case, what I do is ask them verbally. If they don't respond to me in 3 or 4 days, I'll ask them to put it in writing, simple memo, and if they don't respond to that, I'll do a FOIA request. There's no reason why you shouldn't get information. That's called transparency. Now, for some reason, this administration is not sharing. I don't know what the problem is. We are in a situation where we came in and the village was in a financial mess. We're trying to straighten it out, but you can't straighten it out if you don't know what's out there already. Therefore, I asked for these documents, and I'll continue to ask for these documents. I don't care anything about them asking about the public service, because there'll be no public service information until the mayor releases the information I need in order to give the people on the committee the information so they can make an informed recommendation. You can't recommend something if you don't know how many people that's involved in the situation. That's as simple as it is. And as far as Dr. Schroeder, like I did before, if the on groups come up here and say they're paying them, can somebody tell me why is she always on her house payroll? It doesn't make any sense. If somebody needs to explain to the trustees, all of us are new, we need to know what's going on here. And the only way we get to know what's going on here is if we do a FOIA request. Now, and then another thing that, the last thing I want to say is that the mayor gets upset when what's the phrase he used? I'm grandstanding because I want to ask questions. Then the rest of you guys should be grandstanding because there's no way you can sit here and know all the answers to what's going on. Residents come and ask me questions. I have to put in a FOIA request. I don't know if they're doing the same thing to you, but that's the only thing they ever find out on what's going on. There's nothing wrong with putting in a FOIA request. We have the right, we have the constitutional right to find out what's going on with our tax dollars.
Go ahead.
I'm waiting till they finish that.
Oh, gosh, y'all killing me with this.
Now, I can't help it if you disagree with me, but you need to know what's going on with your tax dollars. And some of the things that's happened up here on this board since I've been up here is questionable. I might not be right all the time, but I am for real. And that's the end of my comment.
Trustee Todd?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Ordinance Review Committee will have their meeting April 5th at 6:30 p.m. here at the Village Hall. We are working on false alarm ordinance. We started it last year, actually, but other ordinances were more important as far as they had to be done right away. So we are making headway on it, and hopefully I can present it to the board in the next month or so. We're waiting for a meeting with the chief of police because the policy and procedure needs to be put in place so that once we pass the false alarm, then we need to know how they're going to put it in place. And that ends my report.
Thank you. I have a couple of things to announce. The Easter egg hunt will be the 31st of this month here. Will be out in the community center. And starting at 12 o'clock. That's on the Saturday, the last Saturday this month. Also, that Friday at around 9 o'clock, we will be stuffing eggs over at the community center. So if anyone would like to come out and volunteer to help us stuff the Easter eggs for the Easter egg hunt, which is the next day, appreciate it. Also, on the 25th, which is this Sunday, there's a pancake breakfast at the fire department from 8 to 12. Kids are $4, adults are $5. And I think the Easter Bunny is going to be there also. So that will be this coming Sunday from 8 in the morning until 12 at the fire station for a pancake breakfast. Please come out and support. And lastly, on September 28th, we're having from 8 o'clock to 1 o'clock, we're having a village-wide cleanup day. And I'm sorry, did I say what? Oh, okay, April 28th. That's in next month. Our community-wide cleanup day. We are looking for volunteers. We're going to go all throughout the community in areas that are depressed that we don't normally get a chance to get to, and clean those up. And we're looking for volunteers. We will have refreshments. We will be starting gathering here at the Village Hall. You're going to hear about this every meeting that we have. We'll be gathering at Village Hall at 8 o'clock that morning. So that's on Saturday, April 28th at 8 o'clock. And we hope to be done by 1. And we'll have refreshments. We're going to hopefully have gloves and bags. So anyone that did it last year knows how it goes, but those that did not, will be assigned to a certain area that we will go out and basically clean it up. And last but not least, there's an announcement I need to let everyone know that one of our trustees has resigned, and that's Trustee Calvin Jones. So he has moved out of town, and he's basically gone. So we will, anyone interested, you can submit a letter of interest as far as being, why do you want to be a trustee in Sauk Village? With that being said, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
It was moved by Trustee Brewer, second by Trustee Todd. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you.
You should put a letter in.